Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michelle if you're new here. Today we're going to be sharing with y'all how to make this beautiful furniture doghouse. I went online to look for some of these and they can cost anywhere from like, I want to say 600 into the thousands. And so I was like, I'm not willing to pay that, but I can totally build one. So I went ahead and decided to get started on this. And of course my husband helps me. If you don't know, we recently got a new puppy and she is a miniature poodle. So we did not make this one very large, but if you have a bigger dog, you can simply take these plans and make it to the size that you want it to suit your dog size. Good morning. I'm starting out with a sheet of plywood and I measured halfway in between. It's going to be a 24 by 24 cut here and I need 2 of them. These are going to be my side panels. I will leave a link down in the description for the tools that I used in this project. I wanted to make sure both sides were exactly the same, so I stacked them on top of each other and they worked out perfectly. Then I cut the back piece, which was 17 inches, and then I had to take off some because the backboard is going to sit in between the 2 sideboards. I outlined onto the base of this project using one of the boards. That way when I went to drill in the boards into each other, I would not miss but hit dead center. I was being somewhat of a perfectionist, and so I went ahead and marked exactly where I wanted my screws to go into. We used clamps to hold the boards in place while we pre-drilled and screwed the screws into the boards to connect them together. We pre-drilled into the boards to make sure that we wouldn't crack them when we went and put the screws in. We also glued them, that way they would be more sturdy. It's a good thing to make sure everything lines up before you start pre-drilling and screwing the boards together. Now I went ahead and let my husband pre-drill and screw all these boards together because honestly, I do not drill straight when I drill. So it was really good to have him be able to do that. I think this is the only board I put together right here, which was part of the face of this doghouse. Because we were going to paint this, we didn't try to hide the fact that we were using screws on the outside, but also when we put the trim onto the body, you can see that the screws are totally hidden, so it really doesn't matter. We chose to use pin nails to attach the trim just because when you put them in, you really can't see them. You don't have to caulk, and you could just paint over them and it looks really good. You'll notice too that I'm putting the trim on the outside first, and it reaches from top to bottom, and then the horizontal pieces are sitting in between there, and that's just so that you don't see a raw edge on the outside once you completely have all the trim put together onto this. Because I had made this crate perfectly square, all I had to do was find the center and cut at 45-degree angles for this corner piece. Once I cut one corner piece, I would go back and measure the next corner piece, and then I would create the same size and then cut out the center piece so that the two pieces would sit flat. I also cut the pieces for the top of this. And we just used a Kreg jig and pre-drilled some holes and glued the boards together and then screwed them together. I would say this is probably an intermediate to difficult project. When we were making the door, we also Kreg jigged it by just pre-drilling 2 holes and then connecting 3 boards in between the 2 side boards. And then to cover the big part of the middle, I just used a 1/4 inch plywood, and I overlapped the 1/4 inch of plywood around the frame of the door so that the screws would be able to go into the frame. And then for the bars, I just bought this cheap piece of aluminum. I think it was a 1/4 inch wide piece of aluminum. And then my husband drilled some holes into it using his drill press. That way they were all in the same spot. And then he sanded the door. And then my husband cut the top on both sides because the boards weren't completely even. And then he sanded it, and then I stained it. In order to achieve the color that we wanted, we actually mixed 2 colors of stain together because this is the color that we want and it matches everything in the house. So be mindful of that. If there is not a color that you like, you can totally mix colors together and make your own. Then I put polyurethane on top of the lid, and we also put some inside in case the dog had an accident in there and maybe, you know, decided to make a mess inside of it. And then we applied L angles for the lid and put on our bars and our hardware. When we brought the dog crate into the house, we realized that the door was going to drag on the floor, even though we gave about a 1/4 inch wiggle room. I guess our floor is just crooked. So we attached some 1/2 inch pieces of wood, and that was able to get it off the ground towards where we could open the door and it would swing nicely and not catch on anything. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Does it look like an easy build, a hard build? I definitely think this is more a little bit of a harder project just because of some of the measurements and things that we had to do. But I loved how this turned out. I'm super happy with it, and so is the dog, Precious. If you're new to my channel, I hope you'll subscribe and stick around. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. Bye, guys.